Hello, everybody. This morning I am attempting on August 26th, 2023 to bathe and groom Roxie. I'm going to do most of that on camera. I will spare you the bathing part for the most part because you've seen me bathe all three of the girls multiple times. But I'm going to kind of tie that in with everything. It usually takes me about 3 hours to groom one dog. And I already got Boujee in Paris, I think about a week ago or so. So they're good. Today's my day off, so I'm going to get this going. So I'm getting my tub uncovered here. I keep it covered up. It's on the back deck at my house. There's an on-demand water heater hooked up to it and a hose hooked up to that. And we have a lot of warm weather in where I live. We do have winter, and we can have brutal winter, but I'm going to cross that bridge when I come to it. I may have to take them to the store, like 20 miles away, that has the grooming tub you can pay to bathe your dogs there. That may have to happen in the really cold part of the winter because we'll have everything unplugged and unhooked from the grooming tub. But right here I'm mixing my shampoos and soaps. I do use 2 1-gallon Dawn dish liquid jugs, and I'll put a couple of teaspoons of soap to a gallon of water. I have 2 of those. I'll mix them together with the water and the soap, and when I bathe them, that keeps me from having a line of just real heavily soaped fur that I can't get the soap out of. I have 2 jugs of that, and then I've got a jug down there that I pump a couple of tablespoons of tear-free dog shampoo into, and I also mix that up with a gallon of water. I normally soap them 2 times with the Dawn and let that sit on their hair, and then the 3rd time with the shampoo, but I don't use Dawn on their head or face. I just use tearless shampoo on their ears, face, top of their head, down the back of their neck and stuff, and under their chin. I have to really soak that up good because they get quite oily on their head from people petting them, and when they eat, and just, everything. They get snacks, and they just end up getting oily on their ears and their muzzle and everything, so I have to really clean that well. Now, the key to getting a smooth clipper cut on your dog, and believe me, I am not an expert. I don't even know mainly what I'm doing yet, but I have carried an Illinois license to do hair. I used to work in a salon. It's been a long time, but I definitely know about cutting human hair. But I'm learning to cut my dog's hair, and maybe someday I'll cut other dogs' hair. And I'm just practicing on them. But I do know that if you get that hair really, really clean, and then put some kind of finish on it, like show sheen, that's what I use. And I get that on Amazon. But you can do that. You blow dry their hair and get their hair really fluffy, and it makes it way easier to cut and way smoother. You don't have to do that. You can just do whatever you want to do, but I'm teaching myself to groom my dogs. And so anyway, here Roxie is getting in the tub. I didn't pull the ramp out from under the tub because one of the screws had come out of it, and I didn't know Pet Dad had fixed it, but I just went ahead and picked her up. That's not up that high, but I picked her up and set her in there. Now I've got all my soaps mixed together here, and they're sitting in the end of the tub there on the left. And I've got the water warmed up, and I'm testing it, make sure that I get it to Roxie's liking. Her hair doesn't look like it, but she's grown out quite a bit. So she definitely needs a haircut. It's been in the triple digits all week. And all we do is let the girls out to potty and maybe get a couple of laps, run around the house to scrub off a little energy, and then back inside, because dogs can get heat exhaustion, heat stroke, just the same as humans. So I'm wetting her down here if you do this, make sure you keep a check on that water temperature. Run it on your wrist, and the way I do it, you can really barely even tell that there's a temperature to it. It's not, oh my goodness, cool, and it's not hot. It's just like a tepid water. That's her favorite water. I don't really do it too hot or even too warm. And so anyway, I'm wetting her hair down. She's always such a trooper. She'll hold her head up. Oh, by the way, I can control the pressure. There's buttons on the handle right there under my fingers. And I turn the pressure down some when I'm doing her face. So it's kind of more of a gentle experience for her, But when I wash her body, I let it go ahead and be, pretty well wide open as far as what that controller lets you do, because there's always grass and debris and stuff. She'll roll in the grass and roll on stuff, and, I make sure I get that all out of there by doing that. And also, I didn't show it, but I keep a slicker brush in the tub. And when I get any of them soaped up, I'll take that slicker brush and kind of run it through their hair and make sure I'm getting down to the skin to get any kind of loose skin, any kind of crusty dirt, even though they barely get dirty, but I just make sure I get that all loosened out of their hair. So here I'm washing her down with her first sudsing of Dawn mixed with water, and she's really good. You'll see she's the easiest dog in the world to give a bath to. And Paris and Boujee are out there walking around watching her get her bath, probably laughing at her because they don't have to get one. And I'm pretty sure if they are, Roxie's giving them the stink eye, but, that's different. But anyway, so she's starting to pull on me now and pull her head away. So I'm going to put her noose on there and make her wear it. I try always to let them get by without it, but if they don't want to mind me, then they have to put it on, because I can't. I just wear myself out trying to pull on them, But I'd say they're 99% perfect when they get a bath. All of them are. Oh, excuse me, I had to take a drink. Anyway, I think I only ended up having to soap her down twice. Once with this Dawn and let it sit on her hair for a few minutes to make sure the dirt pulls to that suds. And then the second time I use oatmeal and almond, I think it is, tearless dog shampoo. I get it by the gallon on Amazon. It's about $40 a gallon, I think. But a gallon lasts a long time. And I use that from the base of the neck up to her whole head and ears, because I don't want to get soap in her. I don't want to get soap in her eyes or down in her ears. And another thing that I would say is don't get any water in their ears, because you'll give them an ear infection. And I fight ear infections all the time anyway with my three, because Doodles just tend to have that. Their ears stay hot, and that moisture down inside their ear causes them to get yeast infections. You can use that malicetic iotic or something like that. That's what it's called. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I can't take a picture of it right now since I'm voicing over a video, but it's made by Earwell Tris Flush multi-purpose cleansing solution, recommended for dogs and cats. You can get that on Amazon, and used to it cost me about $42, and now it's $15 for a 16-ounce bottle. A couple of squirts in each ear, not just heavy, but just a couple squirts after their bath. Put a couple of cotton balls just at the base of their ears and let them shake that around in there, and it'll dry any moisture out of their ears. I'm not a vet, though. I'm not an expert. Consult your vet and ask them if it's okay to do that. Our vet is the one that started us doing that years ago, even when we had bulldogs and boxers. And so I do this on the Doodles. And but before you give them a bath, if you just set a couple of cotton balls under their ear flaps, that does help to keep the water out of their ears some from when they're getting a bath. So here she's soaped up and soaked, probably, because it looks like I'm about ready to start rinsing her. And I don't know, I may be washing her head. on top of her head and her face, that's when I do the oatmeal and almond tearless shampoo. Yeah, you can see me scrubbing it around. Now, I don't dilute that like I do in the big bottles. I do have some diluted, but I don't do it because I just want to make sure I get their faces and around their eyes where they get eye boogers and stuff like that. I just want to make sure that they are very clean around there. And it's hard to do that without burning their eyes with regular shampoo, but you can do it with this tearless, and it works great. And watch her curl up her lip when I start scrubbing her muzzle. That's not me doing that. She does it on her own. Watch her show her teeth see. So I can get her good and clean. She'll curl up her lips and let me get in there. And Roxie's really good when you wash her face. So I'll scrub around that, scrub her chin and everything where she's getting food oil and snack oil and water and just drinking water and dribbling it. That'll get that all clean. And the rest of her body is soaking, getting Dawn soaked on there. And in case you didn't know, Dawn dish liquid will kill fleas that are on the dogs right then. And I think they kill ticks. It kills ticks too, but I can't remember for sure. If you just let it sit on there. Now, it's not going to keep them off, but it will get anything existing that's trying to ride around on their hair and live. And you can't really tell, but some fleas are so tiny, they're not visible to the naked eye. So you wouldn't even know there was fleas that maybe had just hopped on them from the bath. My dogs all get Frontline once a month put on, and then we use it year round. Once in a while, we'll give them a break. If we get into December, 1st of January, and it's below zero or getting about there and has been for a while, we'll give them a break from that because I hate putting that chemical on them anyway. But that's what we usually use on them. And I am actually thinking about going to a pill, which I've never liked using, but it does seem like this Frontline doesn't work as well as it should. It's almost like they get immune to it or something. And I don't want them to have to sit and itch because itching is miserable. I have problems with allergies myself, and it's not any fun. So here we are, soaping up the almond and oatmeal tearless shampoo on Roxanne's face. And if the camera's not pointing right, I apologize again, but I've got it actually stuck to the wall of the tub trying to get some kind of footage of this bath so you can see her getting prepared to get groomed. And this video is going to be a lot longer than the ones I usually put up. But, you know, sometimes I look on YouTube, like hunt high and low, trying to find a long video that I can play, like while I'm driving or something that I can listen to. No, I don't watch videos while I'm driving, but I listen to videos. I went, I think last weekend or weekend before last, to Northern Illinois, to the nursing home to see my uncle, and listening to a long video like that really does help to pass the time. But do not try to watch videos, please, when you're driving. Just lay your phone down and listen through your Bluetooth set. So here I'm rinsing off the soap, going through Roxie's ritual of her bathing. How often do I bathe my girls? I shouldn't probably bathe them this much, but I bathe them about every 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And that'd be once between grooms. Since I've been grooming them, I guess they get groomed about once every 4 weeks. This is the second time I think that I've groomed Roxie completely. And I've groomed Paris and Boujee. Paris twice, Boujee once since I started doing them. And I just kind of go by how dirty Boujee gets because she's so light-colored. If she's dirty, I know the other ones are, even though she gets dirtier because they wrestle with her and get her dirty. She's more submissive, so they get her on the ground and get her dirty. And Pet Dad tries to let Boujee out separately to potty from Paris because of that. I mean, they're not mad, they're not hurting each other most of the time. I mean, they get mad sometimes, but most of the time they're not. They're just wrestling around in the grass, and if the grass isn't wet, it's dusty, and then it shows up on Boo's hair. So that's how come we do that. Can you believe how good Roxie is when you start rinsing her face, though? She just turns her eyes up there and lets you rinse on her. And again, I can't move the camera. Both of my hands are busy, and I'm just doing what I can to let you see what I'm doing. I've been pulling it off the wall of the tub enough to kind of show it with when I've got one hand free, but it's kind of hard to do that. So here I am, just rinsing all the soap off of her really well until her hair's squeaky. And no, in the summer, I don't use conditioner on them. It doesn't seem to matter. Their hair is perfect. Their hair's not dry. And I just use that almond shampoo. But I wash them with Dawn, then I finish with the almond shampoo all over their body. Also, I just want to do a little friendly reminder for everybody to be sure you're line brushing your doodles. From the day you bring them home, make sure that you're keeping all mats out of their hair. Brush and comb, brush and comb. Brush them and then comb them, and make sure that comb's not hanging up in their hair. If they get mats, the groomers are going to get mad, and they're not going to like doing your doodle or someone's doodle. And a lot of them get online complaining about that. So if you're a breeder, remind your forever home people to do coat maintenance on these dogs, because I'm getting so tired of seeing these groomers online complaining about the matted doodles. And I do think sometimes they're just saying that because they don't want to do them, because it is pretty taxing to bathe and groom a doodle. I know I've got 3 of them. I never do them all on the same day. I mean, if I bathe them all on the same day, my back's out, but I'm old anyway, you know. A lot of people don't do anything like that if they're the age I am. So anyway, just be sure you brush and comb those doodles. If you find mats behind their ears or in their armpits, just very carefully snip those out and get rid of them. And make sure that they're in good shape when they go to the groomer. Get them groomed every 4 to 6 weeks so that it's not such a hard job for your groomer. If that doesn't work out, get you a good pair of clippers and some scissors and do them yourself. If you don't know how to do that, I didn't either. I just started. Anyway, there's Roxie. She's all bathed. She's sitting on one of the pieces of furniture out there on the lawn. There's some little chew marks where the girls chewed up my furniture like when it was a month old when they were puppies. But anyway, Roxie, what I do, I let her sit there and drip dry about halfway, and then I take her in the house and finish blow drying her. I would blow dry her outside, but it's just too hot out there, and I use like barely warm air on her because I don't want to freeze her to death in here. So I just do that way, let her drip dry, get a break myself, and then take her in the house and blow dry her, which I will show you in a little while. That'll show up. Oh, by the way, I spray Show Sheen while she's wet. I spray Show Sheen on her hair. You can mix it in with your hands, but it's not totally necessary to do that. You can just spray it on there. It's just a really good leave-in conditioner, and it will make your dogs look groomer smooth when they're done. Makes their hair stand out when you blow dry it, and it gives you a way smoother finish. Now, there is Freaky. We like to call Boujee sneaky and Paris freaky because they're very sweet, but Boujee takes everything that's not hers, and Paris is scared of thunderstorms, and she just can be weird. But my gosh, we love them so much. That's just their little pet names. I hear Phil and Kay Robertson got a couple of rat terriers they call Sneaky and Freaky, and I stole their names because, boy, that fits Boujee and Paris to a T. And Roxie just basically rolls her eyes at them all the time because she's very sophisticated, and she just, she plays once in a while, but most of the time she just walks around real prissy and gets up in the chair and oversees everything. She's the boss dog. Here she is, getting her beautifully clean coat blow dried, which she super hates. And Pet Dad did buy us a happy hoodie to put on the girls. And wouldn't you know, when it got time to use it, we can't find it. I don't know if I put it in my new groomer case and it's just under something. And he overlooked it. He looked for it for me. But we couldn't find it. But anyway, so when I got ready to blow dry her, the nozzle came off of my hose. And this blow dryer has not been used all that many times. We've had it a little while, but we just don't use it that often, especially in the summer. But since I'm grooming them myself, I blow dry them so I can get the best look. So he tried to fix it, and he could not fix it so far. I don't know if he can put a hose clamp on there. I don't know. But it don't matter. It worked anyway. So I'm going to just show you guys. Here's how she looks when I have blow dried her. See how smooth her hair is? It's not real tight curly, which it would be if I didn't blow dry her hair. And then I just take the clippers and I go over the hair. I don't remember I think that's a 1/2 inch guard, but don't quote me on that because I'm really not sure. But that's what I do, and I brush backwards and then go over it. Brush backwards and go over it. Over and over and over. And I wouldn't have to do that if I used just a blade. But we like to have a little bit of length on them, so I use that terracotta colored guard. And use metal guards if you do this. I've already gone through the thing with the plastic guards, and they're not worth anything. They don't make a smooth finish, in my opinion. So get you a set of metal guards and get the biggest ones you can get for the top knot. Most of the time, I do the big guard and then I scissor the top knot into shape. Because each one of these girls has got a different texture curl, and they turn out different every time if you don't just kind of learn. You're going to do some bad haircuts until you figure out how their hair is supposed to look on their top knot. And what I do on their ears is I just go all the way down, and this is just because I know how to cut people's hair. I go all the way down to the bottom of the length, and I cut on the top of my fingers, which I do not cut human hair on top. I cut that on the bottom of my fingers. But that's how I measure it, so I know I've got them both the same length. And I just cut like whatever that width of my fingers is off the bottom of their ears. And also I open up their ears and go in the inside. I flip their ears over and cut the inside hair on their ears. I shave it off with maybe a 30 blade or a 10 blade. I've got a 30 blade. That's something you should do when you're going to use a guard. Put a 30 blade under your guard, which will shave them for surgery pretty much, but be sure you got a guard on there or you'll shave them. But that'll cut the hair real good if you're going to use a guard on your clipper blades. So I've got a 30 blade on there, and then I've got a 1/2 inch or something like that guard over the blade. And I'm just going over and over and over her and brushing backwards and going over because her hair's curly and you can shave her hair and then in 5 minutes there'll be little lumps in it. And I did that the last 2 times and no lumps showed up later, and those lumps are curls that were kind of sucked to the skin farther down than the other hair, and then they'll relax out as they go on about their week, and then the cut doesn't look as smooth. So I've had good luck doing that, if that helps, if you understand. If you don't understand what I mean, just watch me. You'll see me take that slicker brush and brush backwards and then go back over the same spots. And every time I do, I'll get more hair. It's just pulling that hair up out of the coat. See, I'm brushing backwards and then going down. And if you want their legs to look kind of like a stovepipe and you don't want to scissor all day long, I'd like to scissor their legs, but I've got to get me a new set of scissors. These scissors I got them when Roxie was a baby, and she's going to be 5 in February. And they were not that expensive anyway, and they are not that sharp. And you really need a super sharp pair of scissors to do precision cutting. And I don't want to use my human hair scissors or that type on them because those things are super sharp. They're razor sharp, and I don't want to use that on my dogs. So I'm going to get a really good set of probably Kinshi shears that'll have the thinning shear, the chunker shear, the curve down, curve up and straight. And I've been looking online. They're about $239 and up for those scissors. But again, when you don't groom at the groomer, you're going to pay for those pretty quick. And I just want my girls to look nice, so I'm going to get a good set of scissors. And until then, I'm just going to have to deal with it. See how that's coming off more hair? And I just went over that. I've gone over it and over it. But the more I comb backwards, the more, with the slicker brush, the more I brush backwards, the more hair comes up. So all of that would have been lumpy looking if I hadn't made sure I pulled it out. Right now I've got Pet Dad videoing for me, and it's pretty easy to show you what I'm doing. And I will tell you, when I went to do her face and top knot and everything, he had gone in the house, and I had to do that with scissors, and I did not have a free hand to video that part. You'll see the finished work, but you won't see me do it. Someday I'll just do nothing but video that part and show you what I do. I do it like you would cut human hair on the part behind that poof in the front, and it's a lot easier than doing it like you see groomers do online. So I'll show you someday how I do that. So I'm doing the opposite side of her now, brushing that up. See, I've already gone over that, and I'm still getting hair. So you do have to just have patience and go over and over it. You got to pull those wrinkles up, those little fat rolls there. No, Roxie's not fat, she's fluffy. And you got to pull her little fluffy places up so that the little creases don't get no hair cut off. And her hair is super curly. She got a lot more poodle curl in her. And so that's how you do that. And how do I know when to start going up and down on the sides? I don't. I kind of just follow the grain and watch and see how it looks like it naturally should go. And I don't know I'm not an expert, don't know what I'm doing at all. I'm not trying to teach anybody anything on here. I've just had people to ask me to, put a video when I do the cutting. They want to see it. And so I'm letting you watch what I can let you watch. When I did her belly, I had to hold her up with one hand and cut with the clippers with the other one. And also, when I had her up on the table today, Pet Dad wasn't out there, and she kept backing up, and I didn't notice it, and she fell off the table, and she fell on her side. So if you guys do this, be sure, whatever you do, that you have somebody help you watch them, and also get a big enough table. My grooming table is big enough for them to stand on, but there's not much room for them to back around and move around. So Pet Dad did order me another table that's huge, and it's electric, that raises up and down, and it'll go down pretty low to where they can just step up on it, and we won't have to pick them up anymore. That's getting shipped here. We tried to cancel the shipment, but to wait till next month to order it, and it was too late to do. So it's coming, and I guess we're going to go ahead and get it anyway. And maybe that won't happen again. But if it hadn't have been for those nooses you put around the neck, if they were not made to give away, she could have broke her neck because the noose would have held her body. But it broke away, and so she just fell off. But I hated that happened so much. She didn't get hurt, but she could have. So after that happened, I took her over there in front of my chair that I sat in on the porch, and I worked on her face and head, and I held her up with my hand and shaved her belly and everything so she could get cool on the vents. And that's why there's no video of that. But I'm letting you watch what you can to at least get the idea of what I do with these girls when I'm doing I shave their feet pads. And I just go over and over them, the curliness. Now, if they don't have a lot of curl, you don't really have to do that much. You don't really have to anyway, but I just want them to look really good. So that's how I do it. And at some point, I tried to shave, or not shave, I tried to trim her tail, and which is easy for me to do. That's more like doing a human's hair, I think this is where I'm doing that, maybe, I don't remember. But you just hold their tail out, shake it out, and just make the hair fall, and then have a good sharp pair of scissors and just go down through there on both sides and kind of curve it into the shape that it goes in naturally, and then just follow that. Yeah, that's what I was doing. But again, you can't see what I'm doing really because of the camera angles. I tried to set the camera where you could watch it. I mean, when I edited the video, but it's kind of hard to do. So what I've done is I'm holding her tail out, and I shook it out, and I'm just following the natural curve of how it was before it got trimmed. And I'm mostly just trimming off the raggedy hair where maybe it's broken some of the hair off, when she's been brushed or whatever, just trying to make it look like it's supposed to look. Now, if I had some really good shears that were really super sharp, like these used to be when I go down through there, I wouldn't have to keep going back and forth over it like that. But you do need to keep brushing and shaking it out because hair will fall out from the inside, attached hair, but it'll hang down longer than other hair. And you have to just keep going through there and looking for long hair to be sure you're cutting it all. And look on both sides of it and make sure you're getting it. Just follow that curve. And it should be more precise than that, but that's how it turned out. And in the end of it, it looked good anyway. And as she goes through the week, I'll see little places on her and I'll call her to me and straighten it all up. But ultimately, even if I did do it myself, she looks good enough that she looks like she's been to the groomer. And that's good enough. But here I'm just still trimming up the tail, making sure we got everything right. We don't want their tails to be real short. Some people prefer that, and that's just fine. See how good she is, though. She doesn't fight and pull and try to lay down like Boujee does. Boujee tries to lay down all the time. She drives me nuts. But she's still a puppy. She's a big puppy, but she's still a puppy. See there, you just cut those stringy hairs off there and get that done. And I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm still working on these curly hairs. That one side of her hair on her ribs, it is more of a loose curl. She's got real tight curls on her back and on top of her head and stuff, but on her ribs on that side, it's a more loose curl and it's lighter color. Now I'm getting all that hair off her neck that I didn't cut before because her noose was in the way. And there, I'm getting all that over and over again because the wrinkles hold that up. And actually, her hair on her neck is pretty thick. I mean, when her hair starts growing out, it'll separate like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just gets clumpy but separates. Not matted, it just gets in clumps and then separates into little sections of its own, all on its own because it's so thick. But that's what I'm doing now, is getting all that hair off her neck, and that loose skin it tries to hold it, hang up the clippers, but the clippers are going through that like butter. These clippers are really good. And they come with a spare battery, but I don't use them enough to ever even probably need that spare battery. They say, the groomers say, that they've had them last 10 hours in the salon grooming one dog right after another one. So, I probably won't ever need that. But you never know. If I practice long enough and my health holds up, I may just groom a few dogs. You never know. I've been known to teach myself stuff before. So, but that's pretty much what happens. And then on these legs, I don't really know how to tell you what to do. You can put guards on there and go down and kind of scoop when you get to the edge of where you want to stop. You scoop upward and then you don't have to scissor as much to show where you stopped. Like if you want teddy bear feet, I don't know how to tell you. I know what you're supposed to do, but you'll have to watch some of those groomers. I recommend going on TikTok because they can talk to you live. If you have any questions on what guards or what blades or whatever, they'll stop and tell you. There's a couple of them that have really been super nice to me, and they've taught me a lot. So I get on there and ask them questions. And at first I was going to scissor a pair of Roxie's legs, and I thought, no, they look just fine when you use a guard. You just got to be careful you don't dig down in there too hard. And if you see any little hair sticking out, take the scissors and just snip them off. Don't keep hacking away at that with clippers when you could just do one little snip and get them off. So there I am, getting her little fat roll on her chest there, getting that done. I don't know if I videoed me doing it, but you can go underneath their neck and go under their chin and all the way out to their bottom lip, and do that while you're doing the clipper cut on their body, get their chin done. But mostly what I do on their face, I do with scissors because I want them to have the furnishings to show, the mustache and the teddy bear look. So that's why I do most of that with scissors. I mean, it depends on the dog's texture of hair, truthfully. Some of them, if you use clippers on their face, they look great, but I don't want their face real short because I don't want them to look like a poodle so much. And poodles, you shave their face and leave a little top knot. Somebody shaved Roxie's face one time, and oh my gosh, that was horrible. There's a video on here somewhere about that. I have rarely seen Pet Dad that mad. But some lady did it in a grooming salon, and she was not supposed to be grooming our girls. Nobody but Casey was supposed to do that. So that was a miscommunication, and they did do way better after that, and they did not let that woman cut their hair anymore. But I'm going to try my best to be the one that grooms them. And if I get to where I can't, I'll just have to take them back to the groomer. But I surely can. I mean, even if I get to where I have to do it like a fourth of a dog a day till I get it done in, 4 days, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure I can do it. Especially Pet Dad, he helps me hold them up there and helps me watch them and everything to make sure that they don't lay down on me or do what they're not supposed to do. You see there, I'm trying to scissor around their feet, but you can't tell what I'm doing. If you do their feet, you want it to be like teddy bear feet. You just snip straight across the front, the back, the side. Just snip it. Just snip it in a square like. You'd think you'd round it, but it's better if you just square it off. Then brush up on the feet and kind of trim up on the tops of their feet. And make sure there's no mats between their toes because they're very painful. Paris actually had some mats between her toes the last time I did her, and that was 100% my fault. I just didn't know to look in there that closely, and when I was grooming her, I looked in there and she had some mats, but you just brush them straight up and carefully take your shears and just snip them out. But be careful that you don't cut their skin. So there I am doing that. Getting the little lumpiness off off of her legs. And really, when you scissor, you should go up and down, point the scissors down or up to the sky, not sideways. I was going up the back and getting a long little sprigs of hair sticking out. But I think I ended up putting the guard back on there and just going down the legs and then scissoring the feet. I think that's what I did. And then the clipper started to not cut. And the whole deal, the whole mechanism was rocking back and forth. So Pet Dad had to look at it. I don't know if we're going to have to get Artero to tighten up that, I forgot what they call that thing that makes the blades work. They sent a spare one with us. If we continue to have problems, or they sent a spare one when we bought it. If we continue to have problems, I'll call the 800 number and ask them if we should change that out or if we should send the clippers in for them to look at them. But he did something to them and they started working again. And I was able to get in the insides of those knees and just do all the little things you do when you get most of that hair cut. Then you start going through and finding all the little places that you missed. The girls have got vet appointments coming up. Boujee and Roxie. Boujee just got to get her anal glands expressed, and Roxie has to get all of her yearly shots and wormer and all that stuff and get tested for heartworms and, just whatever they do once a year. She got that coming up, and then in November, the girls have their OFA testing coming up. There'll be 2 in November. Just as a side note, there I am in there just trimming off. I gave up on scissoring that and decided to just trim up the armpits and also, by the way, be careful in those armpits. I leave the guard on there because you can get that loose skin in those clipper guards and really cut them. So you're better off to, if you don't know what you're doing, get in there and put your fingers between the skin and the hair or use a guard or something, because you can even cut them with a guard, but if you're careful, it'll hold you back from the skin enough to where you won't cut them. I tell you, my voice is crackly today and I cannot do anything about it, so sorry about that too. I think it's just being out in that heat all week, allergies or something. There's the wavy hair on Roxie's ribs. That hair is all good. I keep brushing it backwards and going over it, brushing it backwards and going over it. It's all the same, but it's just the way her hair is on her ribs. It's wavy. And look how smooth that haircut is. I love that. So at this point, I'm looking around to see what else I need to do with the clippers before I have to get her down. And it wasn't too long after this part that she backed up. So, I think I was doing her feet pads. And she backed up until she backed off the table. So, see, there's more. I'm brushing it, and it's brushing up more of them curls, straightening them out to where I can get them out of there. See that hair? You've seen me go over it and over it and over it, and it's still doing it. And I have to say, too, those Artero clippers are a little heavier than I'm used to. But don't let that stop you from buying a pair of them, because they're really good. I have some Andis 5 speeds with a cord, and that cord is, the adapter on it is so heavy, it just unplugs all the time, and it drives me nuts. I don't like them anymore. I've got them now for a backup pair, and also the Artero and the Andis 5 speed blades are interchangeable, so all those blades that Pet Dad bought are able to be used still. And trust me, you can sink some money into some blades. There I am going over around the ears again. Now they will get mats behind their ears, so be sure you check back there. I don't shave their ears ever. I just comb them down and trim them off. That's how we do it. At this point, Roxie is over this haircut. You can tell by looking at her. But she really liked being trimmed. She's in her chair sleep. That is hard on them. They get tired too, not just us. There's the hair that is from the haircut. I don't remember if this was break time or not. It might be. I don't even remember where we're at in the video. I've just been trying to voice over. But I'll let you continue to watch, and I'll play some music for you.